Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Now, today I'm joined by the beautiful Kristen Maldonado. Kristen, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing a lot better now. I am so excited to have you here.
Thank you for
But
having me.
oh, it's an absolute pleasure for me. But before we talk about why you're here, I would like for the people that don't know you to get to know you a little bit. You are an entertainment journalist, critic, and on-camera host. You're the founder of the outlet Pop Culture Planet, and also you can find binge watching everything. So you are also a Rotten Tomatoes approved critic, a member of the Critics' Choice Association, Latino Entertainment Journalists Association, and the Television Academy, and a two-time Shorty Award winner. So that's a lot of feathers in the cap. So what got you started in becoming a critic?
Oh gosh, I've always loved entertainment, television, film. I would say what got me into it was really my dad. I grew up, with a dad who loved all of those things, really introduced them to us. I remember my dad would come home with comic books as a treat for us, when he'd come home from work. And that was just something that we always bonded over. And and I grew up, loving theater and all that stuff. So initially I was like, oh, maybe I'll be an actress. And I studied that in school. And then I was like, you know what's a way that combines my love of performing, but also talking a lot and, entertainment and movies and TV and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, maybe entertainment journalism, maybe broadcast journalism. So, yeah, I would say that's definitely what kind of got me to the path that I'm on now. I owe it all to my dad, and he still watches everything with me. He's like he'll come and help me with red carpets. Like he's a banker, He's like, but he's
Yeah.
like, I'm ready. Like let's do this.
Well, Mr. Kristen, thank you for getting her started on her horror genre, and thank you for continuing that to this day. It's awesome to me when I can hear about how close people can still be with their parents. If you still have your parents, make sure you tell them you love them, because you never know when you won't be able to. So, but I mean, this has gone an extra mile for you a little bit because you've been featured on New York Live, NY1, The List, Den of Geek, Good Morning America, Insider, MTV, Glamour. I mean, you've heard a couple of these places, I'm sure, but what's it like for you to be featured on some of these prominent channels and avenues?
It's awesome. Like, I mean, that's the goal is to just like get my name out there more and like the more I can hustle and, reach out and be able to be seen in more places and just I'm trying to grow, this pop culture empire. So the more that I can, be out there and just kind of like share my voice, I think something that's really important to me is, as a Latina in this space is just really getting my voice out there and trying to help others as well. So that's kind of what I'm doing with Pop Culture Planet is, it's all women that write for the site, women of color, and really just trying to help women get in the door, into entertainment journalism and into this space because there's not a lot of us, and also, there's people that want to do it, and it's definitely not the easiest, avenue to get into. And so, as hard as it was for me, I want to help other people and make it easier for them.
Especially when you have that safety of an all-woman place. Especially in the entertainment industry, it's a lot of what can you do for me
Mhm.
to get where you want to go. And we're kind of breaking that stigma now. Women are starting to really get that respect on their name, and it's not just their bodies. Um, I know a lot of creators that are the most amazing creators. They got the best minds, and they work really hard. And you go to the comments on their video, and it's like, "Ooh, girl," and it's like, "Come on, man! Like,
Yeah.
are we really still caveman doing this?" So, I'm really proud of you for all the amazing things you're doing and the doors that you're opening for these people that may not have the opportunity were it not for you and pop culture over there. So, we talked about this a little bit, but the best way for you guys to follow and get along with this is by following on social media as well as subscribing. So make sure you're doing that. I have all of Kristen's links down in the description. So make sure you become a part of that family as well. Now, um, in order for Pop Culture Planet to be a thing and discuss horror movies at all in any type of aspect, even as a Rotten Tomatoes critic, horror had to start for you somewhere, Kristen. So I would like to go back to the past and talk about what it was that got you started in the horror genre, your first horror movie. And Kristen, the first horror movie you watched was
Probably The Ring. That's the movie. I feel like it came out when I was 12, and that's like the one that I was trying to go back, like, what's the first one I really remember? And I was like, that's the movie that I think was like a cultural phenomenon and like terrified the world.
right.
Really. So yeah, and I would say honestly, like it was more as an adult that I've gotten more into horror. Like I remember that being traumatizing, that movie, and then maybe staying away from it for a while. But now I'm like addicted. Like there's just so many incredible projects. Chucky, Scream are some of my favorites. I love the bloody stuff that like really when they take it to the next level, you know?
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because you go back and you talk about how traumatizing The Ring is, and I know a lot of people that this movie really did traumatize and it fucked them up. This movie's PG-13. You
I
know,
know.
this movie is the perfect example of you don't have to have an R rating to be a horror movie. You don't have to be, almost to the borderline NC-17 to scare people. So we know you were a young lady when you watched it for the first time, but do you remember who you were with the first time you had seen it?
Gosh, I don't even know. I feel like though that I did see it in theaters. So I must have gone with an adult because like
Right.
but I remember it was I feel like it's one of those ones though like I even remember like watching it again at home like and just being terrified to go to sleep or like you're terrified of like your TV because of the way Samara like came out of the television. So like anytime you saw that static snow you were like no, absolutely not.
Anytime the landline rings, 7 days. Nope, nope, I'm good.
And you would do that too. Like you would joke about it. There was like things in that movie that like you then like you would like call your friend and be like 7 days, 7 days.
Yes.
Like be all like silly about it. But it was
We've
so
talked about this so many times, like just prank calling our friends like 7 days. And then like, oh my God, seriously? Like, come on, man. It's like, no, seriously, it's tomorrow, 7 days, bro. Like you're done, you're cooked. Like,
yeah,
but this
totally.
movie is very effective, even to this day. It's not as effective maybe to a younger generation because VHS isn't as prevalent now as it was when we were younger and the importance of VHS and VCRs. But do you remember which scene it was that affected you the most?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was definitely like near the end where like you thought, "Oh, they solved it all. It's over." But no, they didn't. And here she comes out of the TV screen literally kills the guy and now it's like oh you shouldn't have done that, you shouldn't have helped her because you didn't really, you just actually made it worse and now jump started this whole other crazy situation. And like that's definitely just her coming out of, I think she like came out of the well and then she like came out of the TV and it's like the water was dripping everywhere. That's like will haunt you to this day.
Well,
But
then
it
you have the son. The son even tells her.
Don't you understand, Rachel? She never sleeps.
So you have that twist of, oh, like you said, we thought it was over. We just wrapped everything up in a nice little bow. We got her bones. We got rid of her.
that kid
No,
was
you just set her
terrifying
free.
too, even though like he did like he was kind of creepy.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, little Aiden. And it is, like I said, it's one of those movies that we forget that twist because it's become so synonymous with the 7 days and, with Samara and what she is. But that was a great twist in this movie, at a time where you're like, okay, cool, we got a happy ending. The kid is safe. And then you're not supposed to do that, Rachel. You're just like, oh shit, you guys just made it worse for everybody. So,
Yeah.
um, this is an American remake of a very well made film, Ringu. Have you seen Ringu? And if so, what were your thoughts on that?
I have not seen it. I have not, but it's definitely, I feel like I need to go back and just like watch everything
Yeah,
The Ring now. Um, but that's what I think is so great now about like all this streaming and everything is that like you can like go back and like go on a whole journey. Like even just a couple of years ago when Chucky the TV show was coming out, I was like, let me go and just watch
catch up.
everything. And I was like, well,
Yeah,
now I'm addicted. Now I'm a Chucky head.
it's that's my favorite horror franchise. Everybody that knows me knows Child's Play is numero uno in old Ken Sledge's book. I think it's the
Yes,
best.
it is.
There's just something about it that's so special to me. Um,
They do a good
so what?
job of keeping it like relevant and like it's every even the TV shows, every season that comes out, like I am still always shocked. Like they always push the envelope and go further and further. And it's like you would think they're gonna run out of ideas after 35 years, but like they don't. And you're like, how? How do they keep doing that? And I think it's Chucky to me and Scream that they just have kept refreshing where I'm like, it just gets more relevant and more like like things that you can really connect with.
Yeah,
Um, that I think they do so well.
I agree. I put Evil Dead up there too. I think Evil Dead's done a really good job of continuing to stay fresh with new stories. Um, And like I said, with The Ring, this movie is, and when we say iconic, I really mean this movie's iconic. It's just one of those movies that I've never heard one top 10 favorite PG-13 horror movie list without this movie on it. That's how important I think it is. But did you have a favorite scene from the movie when you watched it, or was it kind of just more like a traumatizing event for you?
I mean, I think the movie overall is kind of just crazy, but there is, I mean, I'm definitely, as someone who is a journalist and someone who loves like Easter eggs and things like that, there's something so fun about like following this woman's journey as a journalist, trying to figure out, like, how does this connect to this? And oh, this location, I'm gonna go there now. And like that there's something in that that just appeals to me as a journalist who loves all those little Easter eggs and things like
Yep.
that. And that scene where she like is watching the tape and she pulls the bug off and it's a real bug and you're like, wait, what? Like
Yeah.
all of those moments and that kind of like analysis that she's trying to do are really fun to me.
Well, and you also have one of the best jump scares of all time in this movie.
I saw her face.
Like, oh, that's one of my favorite jump scares ever. I remember seeing it in theater and everybody screamed. Like the whole theater blew up because nobody expected that moment. So, we've talked about, obviously in Hollywood, remakes, prequels, sequels, it's kind of all the rage. People love remakes, requels, sequels. Is The Ring a movie you would like to see them attempt a remake at today?
Honestly, I think it would be really fun to like continue the story because I don't think I ended up continuing watching after the first ring, but like there's such interesting stuff there and like I feel like Samara has such a crazy lore that I would love to know more. And I thought it was really cool the way that they just did the first Omen. I thought that was really successful the way they like gave us those origins. And I think they could totally do something like that with the ring and just give us more of like even Samara's story.
Sure. If you like that, you should probably check out the third installment, Rings.
Okay.
I think you might. I mean, the movie's not great, but you do get a lot more backstory into who Samara is and why she is the way she is, like why she became evil,
I
and
love
like you do.
Samara. Hmm.
Yeah, so you might really dig Rings. That might be one you'd like to check out. So, we've talked about the Ring, Kristen, and what that means to you, but here for a second, I do want to throw a little bit of a curveball at you.
Okay.
My little buddy Ghostface is here, and he has a question for you.
Okay.
What's your favorite scary movie, Kristen? What is your favorite horror movie of all time?
Oh man, that is a good one. I mean, I feel like it changes all the time. Like I said, I loved the Chucky franchise so much, but I think there's been a couple of like new movies that have come out recently that I've really enjoyed, and one of them was Dark
Oh my
Harvest.
God. What was it?
Dark Harvest
Dark Harvest.
came out last year.
Loved Dark Harvest. Like, I love
Yeah.
the lore of who Sawtooth Jack is,
Mm.
and oh, just beautiful. Like, oh, you won a car.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
So that was one of those movies that I wish that they didn't put so much in the synopsis because there's like one line in the synopsis that just gives it a little too much away. But if that one line wasn't in there, it would have completely like everything would have shocked me. But I think they did such a cool job with the creature design, with the lore, with the kills where like they cut one guy's head and he's standing and like he says one more line and then he just falls and he's
yeah,
the literal waves of blood. Like that to me is one of just a movie that I think takes a lot of risks and and does things really, like interestingly. And I tell you, if it wasn't for that one line in the synopsis, I wouldn't have suspected a single thing, and I would have been shocked the whole time. And I think that that to me has been one of the downfalls of movies lately. Sometimes they give away just a little too much, not even in the trailer, but even the synopsis alone. Like Abigail was another one that I loved recently because I love when they push the boundaries and go that like extra mile and like the blood's crazy and they're really doing the kills.
yeah,
To me, there's something about like a creative kill that I mean, it's terrible, right? But like also I kind of love it.
for
And
sure.
that's for me why a movie like Megan, I wanted to like it, but it just didn't quite land for me because I feel like they didn't show those kills. And
Right.
they just want that little extra mile. I think Megan would have been like, one of my favorites. But I just love when they go outside the box and really get creative and, give us like gallons and gallons of blood. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, give me more, give me more.
Hmm.
So I have had an amazing time hanging out with you. And before I let you go, we always go back to the same question. We're going to bounce back to the ring. And what
Hmm.
we're going to do here, Kristen, is rank this movie on a skull count. Now, we're not ranking it on acting, production, score, direction, nothing like that. We're not being critics. All we're doing is ranking this movie on how much it affected you on your first viewing. So, zero skulls being not effective,
Hmm.
five being extremely effective. You can use half and quarter skulls anywhere in the middle. Kristen, what would your ranking of The Ring be?
I think I would give The Ring like a solid 8. It's definitely very memorable. Um, some of those like horrifying scenes are just like I think burned into your memory, It's like it's it's like the that scene in one of the Final Destination movies where like the logs come
The
off of
log
the
truck.
truck and you're like, I will remember this for the rest of my life. Like it just some of those scenes in The Ring really stay with you. I wonder, like, if I were to rewatch it, if it would maybe go a little lower. But from like what I remember as like my first viewing, I think a solid 8.
And that's fair. That's a very fair ranking. So I know I said it at the beginning, guys, but we're at the end of the third act. The credits are about to roll and the curtain's about to drop. But before that happens, all of Kristen's links are down in the description. So make sure, like I said, you're following her, subscribing, becoming a part of that family. I promise you, you will not regret it. So, Kristen, please don't go anywhere. I have a couple more questions for you. Everyone else, if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help build the channel more than you know. And follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. Our links are down in the description as well. But until next time, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.